outside Gettysburg. In the last year, President Abraham Lincoln has fired 5 commanders of the Union Army. Commander number 6, George Meade. Proud, explosive, a West Pointer like Robert E. Lee. Just 3 days on the job, the messenger brought the news of his promotion. He thought he was being arrested. But Meade arrives with an advantage. The high ground. Gettysburg. Day 2, 12 p.m. The rebels are on the move. They're planning a surprise attack by 14,500 troops. Their mission, break the Union stranglehold on the high ground by outflanking Meade's fishhook. Leading one rebel unit, Brigadier General William Barksdale. Pro-slavery, pro-secession, Southern patriot, hometown Columbus, Mississippi.
Barksdale was a man who took the ideas of the Confederacy and pursued them with raw aggressiveness, with an unfettered hatred for the Yankees.
Without cavalry to guide them, the rebel troops nearly march into plain sight of a Union position. Barksdale and the entire attack have to find another route. A costly delay adding 2 hours to their march. Time that lets Meade reinforce his defenses. George Meade also has a problem. Just 3 days on the job, he's lost telegraph contact with Washington, D.C. Invented 25 years earlier, the telegraph is changing the way the Civil War battles are fought. President Abraham Lincoln, a hands-on commander-in-chief, likes rapid news from the field. The Signal Corps usually runs temporary lines to his generals at the front. But at Gettysburg, the field equipment hasn't arrived. And rebel forces have cut the lines.
During the whole thing, he's got to be thinking, Lee has beaten us time and time and time again. And if he does it here, there's no one standing between him and the Capitol. We're it. He can't lose.
To issue orders to the front, Meade uses a new innovation based on Morse code. Wigwag signaling. Waving the flags forms letters, like the dots and dashes of code. It works. Meade tracks the rebels' movements and responds with his own. On Culp's Hill, Rufus Dawes waits with what's left of his Iron Brigade unit. Yesterday, they routed the rebels at the railroad cut. Today, they're with 11,500 men defending the fishhook's right flank. Stretching over 3 miles, Meade's fishhook is formidable. Heavy defenses along the high ground make the Union line almost impenetrable as long as troops stay in position. But one Union commander isn't following Meade's orders. Major General Dan Sickles. Wealthy, devious, a rogue. Recently acquitted of murdering his wife's lover using the first plea of temporary insanity in U.S. history, he'll leave Gettysburg even more notorious.
Dan Sickles was all about Dan Sickles. If it didn't benefit or aid Dan Sickles, he wasn't very interested in it.
He didn't go to West Point. He didn't have any military experience, but he was able to use his money, influence, and power to raise his own regiment.
Against Meade's orders, Sickles moves his 3rd Corps too far forward, fracturing the fishhook and leaving the flanks exposed. A blunder that could cost the Union the battle, and maybe the war. After hours of delay, the rebel force finally arrives in position. But Lee's lost the element of surprise. The Union knows what's coming. Hill, Dawes hears the assault begin.
At this hour, the storm of battle suddenly broke out. Artillery and musketry thundered and crashed together.
Wave after wave of rebel troops launch one of the epic assaults of the Civil War. Barksdale is about to get the fight he's always wanted, but is ordered to hold his ground.
William Barksdale is ready to go. He's chomping at the bit, but he has to wait a little longer. The plan is to take 10 Confederate brigades and attack with them 2 at a time.
One brigade striking the enemy, then 15 or 30 minutes later, the next one strikes the enemy, and then the next and the next.
Fights that are now burned into the pages of American history. Devil's Den, Little Round Top, the Wheat Field, the Peach Orchard, and Cemetery Ridge.
Barksdale can see that Sickles' mistake has left the Union vulnerable, creating the South's best chance for victory. But he is still under orders to hold his men back. "60 minutes pass, but Barksdale's regiment still waits. A rebel yell fills the air. Each unit has a unique sound. Fierce, savage, terrifying. With Barksdale, Private Joseph Lord, 21 years old, laborer, hometown, Big Oak, Mississippi. Carrying the colors makes him a prized target for Union sharpshooters. After the start of the initial attacks, Barksdale and his men are finally unleashed. They storm into enemy fire, racing towards Sickles' position. What happens next could change the course of the war. Adrenaline, sure of their cause, William Barksdale and his Mississippi Brigade are finally attacking. His 1,600 men are part of a massive offensive. 21,000 troops attacking Meade's line from Little Round Top to Cemetery Ridge. Barksdale's men approached Cemetery Ridge sensing victory. But they're charging straight into more than 20 Union cannons just 400 yards away, each capable of firing 2 rounds a minute. At this range, Barksdale and Lloyd will be torn to pieces.
Barksdale, he's been grievously wounded during the attack. He's hit in the left thigh in a very dangerous wound, bleeding profusely. He's asked to leave the field, refuses. Continuing to lead the attack, he has part of his left foot shot away. Stays in the saddle, continuing to lead the attack. He knows the stakes here.
The Mississippi Brigade comes close to cutting through Union lines. Then Meade's reinforcements slam into Barksdale and Lloyd.
I turn again to the front and see the enemy bursting through the bushes and firing at us. They had come out from the top of the hill, fresh. And did our gallant Barksdale ride into our midst and still say, "Forward through the bushes."
Barksdale's exhausted men finally break formation, losing their combined firepower. The rebel flag makes Lloyd a magnet for bullets.
A shock, as if I had a rail in my left hand and one end had struck the ground. One of them fixes a sling for my arm, leaving with a "wish you well."
50% of Barksdale's brigade are dead, wounded, or captured. Lloyd almost overlooks their fallen commander.
I hear a weak hail to my right, and turning to it, find General Barksdale. What a disappointment when I hold my canteen to his mouth for a drink of water. Found a ball had gone through and let it all out. I took his last message to his brigade and left him, with the promise to send the litter bearers.
Barksdale's battle is over. His last thoughts are of it.
And his troops' performance there was unbelievable and very nearly succeeded.
Meade's fishhook has held. This offensive is over. Confederate General Longstreet will call it the best 3 hours fighting ever done by any troops on any battlefield. 16,000 are dead, wounded, or missing on both sides.